Comrade, it is said that we've handed over the memorandum and we'll come back for the response. We're dealing with a new tendency that they know when we give them memorandum, we will not come back and seek response, but not this time around. Yes. When we come back, we will not speak, comrade, when we come back. We come here and stand here and simply say, where is our response? Yes.
I'm striking because I want a living wage.
All right, let's start with our school. We are 25 teachers, and 90% of those teachers are from Port Elizabeth, which is about 100 kilometers away.
None of the teachers who teach at Kenton-on-Sea live in Kenton. They live in Port Elizabeth. So they leave their families, in most instances on Sunday night, maybe early Monday morning. They travel to Kenton and they stay at Kenton for the week to teach at the school.
They stay, in little boarding houses or granny flats in the townships during the week, and then weekends they go home.
While at Kenton, they live in an old section of the school that's no longer in use. So they have former classrooms that they use as their bedrooms for the week. In these rooms, there is no electricity, there is no water, there is no plumbing. So teachers are leaving their homes, living in some pretty tough situations because they are dedicated and committed to trying to make a difference in the lives of the children that they teach.
We as black teachers, far back, we were earning a very low salary, and at least the white teachers were earning good salary. So we inherited, that system of earning, even the improvement. They are trying to improve what we have been getting as black teachers.
The Bantu Education Act came into being in the early 1950s under the nationalist government, which was the government that introduced apartheid legislation upon its ascension to power in 1948. And essentially, it provided a third-class educational system for South African blacks.
Many of the teachers in our schools, the schools with which we work, were educated with a Bantu education. So once again, they are not content specialists in the disciplines for which they are responsible teaching on a day-to-day basis.
Essentially, it provided a third-class educational system for South African blacks. Not wanting to integrate educational systems, the white minority regime sought to create places where blacks could learn how to basically be menial servants to the white population.
Because they had a deprived education, they are now responsible for teaching other students, and they don't have the content knowledge to give to the students that they're responsible for teaching on a day-to-day basis.
We've got a shortage of teachers. We have a shortage of LTSM, learner teacher support material. Again, we are not very happy with the current system of education, outcomes-based education, because we have noticed that children cannot read or write. And we have been just told to accept what the department is providing for us. And it has never been a discussion between the educators and the department. Those who are hands-on and those who are not hands-on.
This is grade 5B.
Okay.
I'm a teacher of this class, Mr. Makagwana. I'm teaching social science, economic management, grade 6, and social science, grade 6. Okay, thank you. Okay. This is my class, you can see them. Okay, just see them now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are a school for socially severely marginalized children, street children. Our registration is extrinsically disabled. In other words, our children have barriers to learning that have been caused by socioeconomic factors rather than by inherent factors. We're still fighting for our survival, hence the fact that we don't have proper facilities. Children who drop out of school or who never go to school at the right age don't cope being shoved back into the mainstream. They have huge emotional, psychological, sometimes neurological barriers to learning. Violence is the only form of conflict resolution they've ever experienced within the society in which they've grown up, and so it's the only form they can practice. And so you will see that nearly everything in this room is broken. It was all brand new when it was bought, including the cupboards that have no doors.
Representing, their days are numbered. So, comrades, we have not yet reached our destination. Therefore, as we are saying, tomorrow we'll meet at 9. So that we say to them, why COSATU is supporting comrades? Because if you accept the 6%, you'll be simply giving line for the private sector to toe the line. It is critical, comrades, that after this, we'll realize that everyone, everywhere, that workers are to fight for themselves, irrespective of who's in government.
The teachers are right on the other side. But the problem is that the people who are going to be disadvantaged is the learners, because they are also supporting the unions and the other public service. And you'll find that in terms of the teachers, the salaries or the take home is not enough.
That system of earning, even the improvement, they are trying to improve what we have been getting as black teachers, but in bits and bits, like 12% really. It is not much, but they say it's a lot of money.
Less than $700 a month these teachers are bringing home. That's just totally beyond my comprehension. And clearly, that's my American knowledge here, but still, $700 a month cannot help you feed your family.
Is that before taxes?
That's before taxes, absolutely. So in many instances, after taxes, these teachers are bringing home less than $500 per month. I don't know how they're making it. And many of the teachers are largely in debt because, once again, they're taking out loans to make their bills that they just cannot meet based upon the salary that they bring home.
Very big disadvantage is that many teachers, they support more than one family because of the extended family concept. You have one person working, and then there are several other families, that depend on that family because unemployment rate is quite high. So that is the situation. That makes it worse. That makes, the 6% nothing because they've got to provide food and education and accommodation to so many families.
The beginning teacher salary for someone who has a 3-year diploma may be 4,000 Rand a month. There's a teacher at Ecom who has been teaching for 34 years, and after teaching for 34 years, her salary before taxes is less than 10,000 Rand a month. As you know, the teachers, nurses, and police officers in South Africa are on strike due to poor wages, poor benefits. Although we came here to teach, we ended up being learners because we could not teach in the schools at the end of the first week. The teachers went on strike, and we have been standing in solidarity with those teachers ever since the strike began on June 1st.
The kids, you know, it was like 6 weeks of non-contact time.
I'd say it's about them, because if it was about us, they would work, they'd come to work, and then like maybe talk to the principal, talk to the union and all that stuff. Yeah. Teachers hardly come to school before the strike.
The teachers were basically run off their feet, trying to get notes and stuff up to date.
I do support the strike because I'm also the victim. I'm also disadvantaged. But still then, I feel very much disappointed, distressed. Like what I'm looking at is the children who are missing a lot of this opportunity.
Now, as I say, present the children that are lost, they will be breaking into the houses of people. So they've got nothing to do.
The children are missing that teaching they love best, and they are excited of being in the classroom where there will be a pair of cultural university students.
Many times they are orphans. The parents have died, and leaving them either with the grandparents, with aunts or uncles. But the saddest part is that the brothers and sisters sometimes have to look after their siblings.
I'm looking at the most disadvantaged children, whom they go to school without a plate of porridge or a slice of bread. And those children suffer because they know if they go to school, they know that they will have a slice of bread, let alone to get the education, but to have something in the stomach for a day, one nutritious meal for a day.
These are the consequences. And again, this thing in South Africa, the HIV and AIDS, we are inundated with those things.
We not only came here for the students in South Africa, but we also came here for the teachers. That's why we're here. We're here to model excellent teaching strategies. We cannot cross a picket line when teachers can't afford to feed their families on the salaries that they make. One of the heads of department heads, instructional department leaders at the school said, you know, our neighbors see that we are in need, our neighbors see that we are disadvantaged, and our neighbors turn away. Yet we have people from America who recognize our need, who recognize that we are disadvantaged, and they have come to help. We're a different looking bunch, I should say. All of my students are white. So most of the marchers, I'd say 95% of the marchers were black. So when we first got out of our vehicles, people looked at us and they were like, okay, you know, who are these people and why are they here? Christine Yankee spoke to people in the mother tongue in Xhosa, and then our students went up to people and introduced themselves and said why we were here, what we came to do, and that we were in support of the strike and of their efforts. So our students got involved and they turned around and they said, may we march? And of course we said absolutely. The primary civil servants, you've got your police, your nurses, your teachers, those who are responsible for education, for providing safety, for ensuring health. These are the people that are the most important, yet they are valued the least. You've got the president who's getting a 57% pay increase when the teachers have only asked for a 12% pay increase, and the government has offered, as of last week, 7.25%.
What were your experiences in the last week, if I may ask? In a nutshell, did you have any? Is everybody on strike?
Yeah.
So you didn't go to school? No. School's closed? Yes. You have a big lock at the front gate. No children inside?
The public service, they are asking for 12% rise in terms of the salaries and wages.
Well, I don't think we're going to get 12%, really. Judging from the arguments they put, that they are packaging the whole thing, including the housing allowance, the medical aids, and other things. Our take-home pay is peanuts, really.
Right.
You know, we are known all over the country that if you go to teachers and nurses, those are the poorest. But when you look at us, we don't look as if we are poor. We are in debt. That's the problem.
Teachers, which are also affiliates of some of the unions, they are also participating in that strike. But it's not only the educators, it's all the public servants in the country.
There are different teacher unions here. ASATU and NASO, which is mainly the white people, NAPTOSA, which is whites and blacks. So most of the organizations are here. In fact, all of them, the teacher unions, and the nurses and the municipality workers today. They have joined the pop crew, the police. They are here.
As far as the strike is concerned, I think it's, for me, a microcosm of the problem that faces South Africa, which is a certain amount of wealth that exists within the country and that exists in the hands of a small group of people who are essentially either politicians or business people.
If one looks at the fallout amongst the teaching population and the nursing population in this country, it's quite terrifying. Who are going to be the quality teachers in 10 years' time if we aren't properly paid?
If our demands are not met, the next step is very obvious. We continue studying.
We've had many conversations with teachers and others since we've been here, and one comment that stayed with me was that teachers are the largest holders of debt in South Africa because they manage their money poorly.
And I didn't really know what to think just because I didn't have all the facts. And then as I started getting more of the facts, that they were sucked into a 3-year contract when they made the last budget.
When you don't have enough money to pay your rent, to buy food for your family, to buy uniforms for your children, to pay your school tuition based upon what you're given each month, what ends up happening is teachers end up borrowing money from unsavory places often because they can't make ends meet based upon their monthly salary.
The dollar? Yeah. Give you a mic and speak to the government. Let me show you something.
indefinite strike, it takes huge commitment and a lot of sacrifice. The children are suffering, but our families will also suffer because many of us are not going to be paid come the end of the month. And so it's a sacrificial decision. It's not a selfish decision against the children we teach.
No, she'll set it up.
I think a few days of teaching is nothing compared to what people have lost in the past. You know, trying to get freedom, trying to get the living wage, you know.
I'm getting to the end of my career now. I've not got very long to go till I retire. And so I've got grandchildren. And their father happens to be a teacher. He's not going to last very long in teaching. And in the next few years, if something does not happen, there won't even be teachers to teach my grandchildren.
If we are looking at our organization, the National Professional Teachers Organization of this country, you will see there is a slogan there that says, teach with dignity, meaning we put the child first. But when the government is not playing the game fairly, for how long should we be suffering? We know our duties, and we have been doing our duties all these years.
After the strike, I think they're going to deduct money. They have said that. They're going to deduct money from us as from the 15th onwards. They're going to do that. And then, I don't remember which year, they simply put the money in the bank. And then the strike was off. That's what they do. We don't know if they're going to do the same. But I'm clear that we're not going to get 12%. 12% it's a bargaining chip. You know, it's something to bargain with.
It was really not worth it. The consequences the teachers are suffering this year because of the deductions from their salary, which started in January and in end of May, and they are hoping that their salaries are still going to be deducted at the end of August.
Well, to my knowledge, I mean, the strike was successful in the sense that the teachers got an increase. I mean, the result of that strike, I think, is that teachers are still suffering in the sense that they have to pay back the money because it was initially a strike that wasn't sanctioned.
They are doing the deductions because there is a policy of no work, no pay. So they are effecting that policy. And in fact, the teachers and the workers who were on strike, they knew that it will be a no work, no pay. So they took that risk anyway.
I think initially probably quite a positive impact. I mean, the fact that it was successful, they unionized it, you know, there was a major kind of discussion that ensued between the union and government, and I think it was positively resolved. But the point now is the docking of money from salaries is, I think, again creating some resentment between the Ministry of Education and teachers. So I don't think it's all that positive at the moment, and I think teachers generally, I won't say all teachers, but many teachers suffer from a sense of feeling neglected and not really being valued by the system, and I think there is a sense of low morale in a way as far as teachers is concerned.
If now the government can answer very promptly, if the teachers are requesting a high salary, they give them a high salary, and looking down to the parents that are suffering and the learners, the future of the nation. I would love, not waiting up until 6-week strike and 5-week strike.
I want to say to the comrades that are here present that we need to go back and mobilize more and ensure that our unions are stronger than before. Because, comrades, the strategy was indicating that everyone on television would attack the workers. But we understand one thing, comrades, that even the class that they are representing, their days are numbered. Maybe our comrades might have compromised by 2%, fine. But we're saying we're not going to compromise any further.